Let's see, it doesn't take too much. All right. Good evening, everybody. It is 5:30 on Tuesday, November 21st, and at this time, I would like to call the Teaching Equity, Learning, and Pupil Services Committee to order. May we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Greg Schneider.
Present.
Tia Johnson.
Present.
Megan Miller.
Present.
Robert Flexon, all members are present.
Thank you so much. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Schneider, second by Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. That takes us to item 1D, the approval of the minutes. Anybody like to, looks like, here we go. Anybody like to approve our minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you so much. That takes us to our information or discussion item for this evening, item 2A. Mr. Stenroos, our Director of CTE and Alternative Education, is going to speak with us about our partnership with Career Tech. Thank you.
Hey, good evening. So we will have a brief presentation. We wanted just to inform you around some exciting work that we're doing in expanding our already having a relationship and partnership with Career Tech, but expanding into our middle schools. And that goes with our career planning that we're doing with our students. And so delighted to also have Susan Day here from the organization to co-present with Jeff Stenroos, our Director of STEM. Or Director of CTE and Alternative Ed.
I'm asking for assistance from my colleague to share it up there because it's not working from my MacBook now. I got a new MacBook not too long ago, so I'm almost there. Okay. So I'm Jeff Stenroos, Director of Career Tech Ed and Alternative Education for the district, and I have Susan Day, who is the Career Development Director at Career Tech, who we've been working with. All right, Kelly, next slide, please. So the purpose of what we have is to introduce and expose middle school students to various careers and opportunities that exist in our area. This is part of our academic and career plan, which you will be given in January, I believe, is when we come to the board with our new academic or career plan. And I've been working with Career Tech over the last year or so and talking about how do we expose our middle school students to other career experiences, what's out there, and how can we have this partnership. And so it's something that's been in the works for a while, and so we've finally formalized and put something together to realize we need to expose our middle school students to this so that they're well informed or have an idea of what they might have as an opportunity when they move into the high school region and even beyond that. So we worked with Career Tech, and if you go to the next slide, Kelly. So the school district of Beloit, we have our part with this. We schedule specific times for events to take place and saying these are when we're going to plan them, we're going to put them on the calendar, we're going to make sure that we have them staffed, we're going to fund transportation from the CTE budget for various field trips that we might have that go along with this. And we're going to do some of the career work, the career interest surveys using Zello, using some of our career planning there to provide some data to help maybe guide or shape what Career Tech can provide for us. So on the Career Tech side, and I'm going to have Susan speak to a little bit about this, we're going to provide staff and the facility for field trips and exposure to their Career Tech programs. Coordinate and secure industry experts to school events. They have feelers, reachers out, and have a wide network that we are trying to tap into by utilizing our partnership with them. And then that might go into arranging possible site-based field trips that they might help us set up for that. So I'm going to let Susan talk a little bit more about what Career Tech does and can help us with our middle school program.
Thanks, Jeff. So Career Tech, if you're not aware, is an organization here in Beloit that provides career exploration opportunities for our youth, 6th grade through 12th, and all of our services are free. So I've been working with Jeff, as he said, within the past year, just trying to be creative in how we can get the word out to more of the middle school students so that they can take advantage of our services, hopefully giving them more education and making better educated decisions about what academy at the high school they would like to join. I think experiences are worth a lot as far as helping them make decisions, not only what they want to do, but what they may not want to do, because sometimes we give opportunities and they'll come back and say, no, I don't want to do that, and that's fine. That's just as much of a win. So Jeff and I, we have a couple events planned. Next Monday, we have our, are you going to say this?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the next slide.
Okay, well, all right, I'll just say about Career Tech real quick then. So yes, I'm working with Jeff on some events, but before that, just so that you're aware, there are a couple events that are real important to get the word out to our students. So after school programming, that is on Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That's open for students 6th through 9th grade. We focus on the trades, IT or technology, and then healthcare. So that is more middle school. We bring in people from those different career paths to share their talents with the students. We just finished a renovation on our space, and we've added a construction lab and an innovation lab and a healthcare lab. So students are actually doing true hands-on activities for that exposure. 10th through 12th grade, we have an innovation club on Mondays and a construction club on Wednesdays, and that's from 4 to 6. Students are learning about residential construction right now, building walls and pulling wire and setting up plumbing, toilets. And then our innovation club, they're actually working on a CAD program called SolidWorks, and they will be receiving certification after they finish that program. So, and again, all of that is of no cost to them. Our summer academies are 6th grade through 12th grade, depending on the academy, but they range everything from healthcare to construction, plumbing, fire, EMS, cosmetology, entrepreneurship, electrical, auto mechanics. So though it's a wide variety, not just those 3 pillars, so that they really have a great opportunity to just learn something, have a lot of fun, and we always say we feed them well. So they come back, I think, for the food, but they are definitely motivated by food. But so those are 2 programs that I think we really, really need to get the word out to our students so that they can take advantage of those, along with the programming that Jeff and I have planned.
The program that Susan just referred to, we've advertised and put that information out to our middle schools already. We have some students that take advantage of it, not maybe nearly enough. We partnered with Career Tech and their construction academy, not this past summer, but the summer before, where we actually held it at Beloit Memorial High School, and we built mini dog houses. Or mini houses that were dog houses, because they had siding and soffit and roofing and shingles and I mean the whole thing. And then we donated those to the Humane Society in Rock County here up in Janesville. So we've been partnering with them, but now we need to take a more direct approach and saying we need to put some very specifics in. So we have a few specifics here, and these are opportunities for our 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. So I want to jump down to the 8th grade one to start off with, because that's one that's happening next week. So our 8th graders from Aldrich and Fruzen are going to take a field trip to Career Tech. We've got them in groups, and they're going to cycle through to go to Career Tech and see what their facility is like, learn about some experiences and programs there. I'm going to jump back up to the 6th grade, because the 6th grade is going to follow suit and do the same thing in December. So 6th graders and 8th graders will have a guaranteed experience of an opportunity to Career Tech to see what they have to offer. In addition, the 6th grade, we're going to set up industry speakers. We're going to rotate around the 3 clusters, so Career Tech is going to arrange them. We're going to bring them into the schools. We're going to work on that in the springtime, so they'll have opportunities to, so it may be construction and healthcare, one at Aldrich, one at Fruzen. The next time it's healthcare and innovation. So every school will get one of the 3 career areas. In 7th grade, we're going to continue the same thing. We're going to have rotations with them. That's going to be a little bit more based on interest when we do the career surveys with them, so that kids are getting opportunities to find out more about something that they're really interested in or that attains to their career survey. We already have one set up for December 12th. Healthcare is going to be at Aldrich and construction at Fruzen. So that's going to be our first industry experts that are going to be there. And then you can see the 8th grade, again, we have the field trip, but we also have a rotation of industry experts that are going to be there. So our kids are going to get exposure to what Career Tech has at their facility and what they have to offer, and learn a little bit more about their programs, but they're also going to be bringing in our local area industry experts and have them speaking directly to our kids. 6th grade in big groups, 7th and 8th grade by their career interest inventory. So it's a very direct approach of how do we expose our 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And then that all ties into what does our academies look like? What do we offer here at Beloit Memorial for a next step? We don't have everything that they have to offer. With that, we may not have, cosmetology, but we want them to know about it because, that may be a program we don't ever get, but they need to understand that that's also available with it. But if they have somebody that learns about construction or robotics there, and we have something at our Beloit Memorial High School, we want to expose them to that at a middle school level and being direct about it so they can make better informed choices for their academies. And I would be remiss if I didn't include Derek Carter from
Right.
Career Tech and Will, who Will he's come along and is their new, what's Will's title?
He's our Pathway Program Director.
Pathway Program Director. So it's all three of them. It's not just Susan and I. When I go there, I meet with the three of them. We have regular meetings with Career Tech to help develop this partnership. And now this is a direct link to saying, we're going to put something pencil to paper, rubber to the road, and we're going to make this happen for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade.
Thank you. Do board members have questions or feedback?
I don't have any questions. I'm just excited to see this partnership and the value that that's going to bring to our students as they understand what their options are in the future and to help them focus on a possible career path and to energize them as they complete their education. So I'm really excited about the partnership. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. I, too, am excited about this, about any chance our middle schoolers have to having more exposure to different opportunities. Educationally, I'm all for. But I do have a couple questions, particularly in terms of costs. We're looking at a financial crunch, and I just want to know if, so it sounds like this is already in the works. Next week, next week there's going to be some field trips. So I'm assuming it's been budgeted for and we've got the finances for this. Is this something that we're looking for an approval for just this year? What does it look like going forward? Thank you.
Yeah, this is just informational tonight. There is no ask for action of approval. And the only cost, it's really quite a benefit for our students. The only cost is school district employees paying for transportation. And so that'll be coming out of the CTE budget. Does any of your grants fund that?
It's actually being funded through Act 59, which is the incentive grant for the credential earning. So, yeah, we have a wonderful partnership with Career Tech where there's not a cost associated with that. It's really providing the transportation and to cover that cost.
Great question, board president. Board member Johnson. One of the things that I want to just jump in and say is naturally we're talking about opportunity and access, right? And so part of our responsibilities as the district leader here is to make sure that we are really evaluating the access and opportunities that we have, not just in our state, but also in right here in our city. And so I think that this opportunity that we have now gives us the additional access for our students. And those two conversations, when they're kind of put on top of each other, or I like to call it like the eyeglass opportunity, what you get in the middle is achievement. And so hopefully we will be able to, continue to have opportunity and access opportunities for our students. And then in the middle, of course, we will meet that achievement goal. And so thank you, Mrs. Stenroos, for your presentation. Naturally, I just want to say thank you. Yeah. I just want to say thank you. No. Okay. No. I just want to say thank you for your presentation as well as our guest here as well. Derek Carter, naturally, we've had conversations as well in this thought. It stemmed actually back last year when I first came to the school district of Beloit and just starting to kind of meet people and kind of going around. And in my going around, naturally, I met Derek. And in our conversations, naturally, I wanted to know more about the program and how we could be not only a better partner to different opportunities in our city, but also how we can make sure that when we do, come together, that achievement is actually happening. And so that was part of our conversations that we had earlier on, even last year. And so it's good to kind of see our conversations kind of, get to this point where we'll at least take the field trip over to Career Tech and start some of those access conversations. And naturally, that's something I want to just add to the conversation.
Thanks for putting this presentation together. Susan, if you don't mind me asking, can you talk me through how you're funded?
Sure. Of course. That was a very important detail that I left out. I apologize for that. So being Hendricks Career Tech, we are 100% funded by the Hendricks Family Foundation. So yes, we're a non-for-profit, but not in the traditional sense because we're very, very fortunate to have one funder. Diane supports Beloit in so many ways, and she's a true believer that our youth is our future. So that's how we're able to do everything that we do at no cost to the students.
So to what extent does Career Tech participate in like a YA consortium? Could you speak to that, please?
Yes, so YA, which is the Youth Apprenticeship Program, being we're not a school, we're not able to actually do the paperwork and support a student. They have to go through their home school for that. And so whoever the YA coordinator is at the school of where they attend, they would be the ones that would have to actually do the paperwork part of it. Now, finding the location for somebody to do a youth apprenticeship, that's where we come in because we have the connections with the businesses, the industries in town. So it's easier, I think, for me to reach out, find people that are interested and, want to know more about the Youth Apprenticeship Program because it goes two ways. You'll get students that are interested in it, but you have to find a placement for it. Or we'll have people that are saying, yes, I want students, and then we have to have the students to fill it. So that is a direct conversation that if, your YA coordinator is interested in talking to me about it to see how we can, continue and grow that relationship so that we can get more students placed in a youth apprenticeship opportunity, that would be a great conversation to have.
Regarding like Act $59, so when you mentioned that you'll have students completing through SolidWorks, I mean, to what extent does that count toward Beloit Memorial or like the school district of Beloit's Act 59 benefit?
I will not pretend to know that answer. Will Davis is our expert at that. He was an instructor in an Oshkosh or
Somewhere in that
yeah,
area.
sorry about that. So he's had a lot of experience with that, but I do not want to speak to that and say something wrong. So
Sure. No, I guess what I'm getting at is my concern with partnerships with Career Tech, besides the fact that I find the funding a bit problematic, is I'm worrying a little bit about losing our viability as a district to form our own relationships. I'm old enough where I was teaching at Beloit Memorial when we had a very robust CTE program that was impacted adversely by the person who ended up being a founder of Career Tech. So I have sort of a maybe not the best lens, just to be frank. So what my concerns are is I've heard some things, and having worked at Black Hawk Tech for many years and seeing what the grant process was with the DWD grants, for example, is that it feels like a lot of grant funding and student opportunities over the years, maybe not now, have been diverted from our high school students and streamlined through Career Tech. And so while I definitely appreciate all of the benefits, my daughter brought me home a permission slip to attend the Career Tech field trip next week. Sounds like great stuff. I'm concerned about what our sustainability is as a school district and whether or not we should be kind of forming our own relationships with employers. It seems like Career Tech definitely does a lot of wonderful things, but I guess I still have those concerns. And my last question would be with regards to the construction, plumbing, the trades partnerships that you spoke about, do students then still have access to other opportunities? For example, I know there are some local unions that also do youth programs. Is there any partnership or opportunity for them there? And if not, are we precluding those opportunities with streamlining all of our youth kind of career CT, ACP, middle school stuff only through Career Tech?
So I can answer the first part, and then I'll have Jeff round out the second part of the answer. I think what we really want to capture here is blended learning opportunities and access. And so in recognizing all of the great things that we already have going for us in our academy structures and pathways at the high school, and those own partnerships and work-based learning opportunities that have drastically outpaced the state, actually in Beloit, and Jeff can speak to some of that as well. We were looking for a way to deepen a partnership with Career Tech. So the grades 6 through 8 was really a gap in our programming where we felt like this could be a benefit. And so both Susan and Derek were open to that idea. So this is really helping to round out that academic career planning experience, grades 6 through 12, which is a DPI requirement. Doesn't mean that we won't be open to other opportunities in grades 6 through 8, but that's kind of the bird's eye view of where we were going with this partnership.
Yeah, and part of our partnership with Career Tech, you asked something about like the incentive grant. One of the things that we don't have a CNA program at our school, but Career Tech does have a CNA program. So we have kids that are attending Beloit Memorial that go through their CNA program, but we get credit for them through the Act 59 funds because they're a Beloit Memorial student who have passed that certification test. So there's a piece that we work with them, and it doesn't infringe upon something that we don't have at this current time. So there isn't a conflict with that. And again, and we work with the GBEDC, who are a partner of our academies. We have an academy coach with Deb Prouse who has numbers of contacts that are out there already. Some of them have blossomed through Career Tech because we also attend meetings at Career Tech to find out what they're doing. So we find that this is a partnership that works hand in hand. Maybe again, not knowing where some of that past has been, but we don't see it as infringing upon what we do or limiting us to what we do. We can have both those going forward, and I will admit, I'll be a little territorial if it's something that we can have at Beloit Memorial in the Beloit School District. Yes, and I'm going to work with Career Tech saying, here's what our program is. What can you do to support us? But not send kids that direction or take kids away from them. But how can we develop our own program? But it is a partnership of the more that we can get out there, and the more that we can expose our kids to and take advantage of, and we can be working with some of the same exact partners. And we're just two different entities, but we still are working towards that same goal and being respectful of our own entities.
So there's not a CNA program with Blackhawk anymore? With Beloit Memorial?
We send kids to that. No, we do not have our health. That's one of the things, our health careers, and we're working on the development of that pathway, but we do not have that currently, a CNA program within our high school right now.
Well, no, but I mean with
We
Star
do,
College, no.
we do.
Okay.
So there is that, but that doesn't necessarily work for everybody. If we only had that, we also limit opportunities where we've had,
100%.
again, in the last few years, 6 or 7 students that have taken it through them in addition to the ones that we have there because it just didn't fit their schedule or their timeline or whatever it might be.
Gotcha. All right, so we're sure that Act 59 dollars are going to the school, that SolidWorks piece, right? And are we, are we actively looking at, I guess I just want to make sure, there's a risk in, I know Deb does a phenomenal job as an academies coach and or coordinator. I guess I just want to make sure that we're not putting all of our eggs in one basket, particularly because I just think that our students deserve all the opportunities that they can get. And it's very difficult for me to separate that out.
Ms. Miller, I would say our eggs are scattered as far as we can possibly scatter them. Career Tech is a partner with us, and we've had great conversations, and they also recognize that and support us. They realize they're not the only possibility of 6 through 8 exposure, but they are an avenue that we recognize we had a gap in it. And our high school teachers, bless their hearts, are wonderful teachers. They have connections like crazy, and so does Deb, but for them to coordinate and work something with the middle schools, and we don't have that quite capacity at the middle school, this was a step in that direction. Could it develop that we create our own pieces? It is a possibility, but right now we addressed a need, and they were able to help us and fill that in, but we have our eggs scattered all over the place. I will assure you that.
All right, I'm glad we're Easter bunnying this situation. That sounds amazing. Does anybody else have any other questions?
I just have an additional statement. One of the other thoughts that, come up in this opportunity is that I think Career Tech, they do some work in some of our schools already. At BLA, they have came and done presentations once before. I've walked through our hallways and seen Derek doing presentations at BLA. I think one of my heart of hearts is that when we are extending ourselves, that the partnership is both ways, and it's not just one way. And hearing Jeff mention that naturally, we have scattered our eggs, but we still got more eggs. The more eggs keep coming. So, naturally, we keep going. It's just like you keep spreading your wings as much as you possibly can for the students and families of our district. So thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move into our next part of our agenda, and we have Brandy Grady here with Kelly Gorud to discuss a library plan. This is work that's coming down from the Department of Public Instruction, along with expectations that it would be board approved and to meet a short timeline. So we appreciate you listening to us tonight and then moving this on to the consent agenda in order to make some of those deadlines that DPI has asked. Right.
At the last minute. All right. So, hello. I am Kelly Grorud, and I am here with Brandy Grady. And we are going to share with you our future-ready library plan tonight. So DPI, I skipped a slide somehow. DPI has requested of districts to have libraries put together a multi-year plan using what's called the Future Ready Framework. And their Future Ready Framework is really designed to support equitable and accessible student learning in both libraries and technology. And we'll talk a little bit about this because right now the state is asking libraries to put together these plans. In the future, it looks like they're going to be asking us to have a technology plan as well, and they'll work hand in hand. The idea behind the Future Ready Framework is that libraries should be embracing change and innovation. So the state is asking us to actually look forward to and embrace the change that's coming at us to create inclusive learning environments within our libraries. And they're asking us to do that in 3 different ways. One is to promote diverse literacies through reading, research, digital literacy, the library media that we choose, to integrate and really think about digital tools that students might need to learn about and use in their classrooms and outside of their classrooms to further their learning, and then to collaborate with leaders within the district, teachers and colleagues around schools, and also community partners so that the librarian and the library staff are not the only ones owning the library plan. The idea behind the Future Ready Framework is that libraries are supposed to look at school and district needs and strategic priority plans and really think about how the library fits within that broader context. And so they use the language in the framework to say the library plans should be informed by the past, grounded in the needs of the present, but planning for a dynamic future. And so that's the spirit in which we come to you tonight with our plan. So the Future Ready Framework has 8 parts. They call these wedges in the plan, and they ask libraries or districts to develop their library plans around 3 or 4 of these wedges. So they really encourage about 3 wedges and 3 or 4 years for the plan. The 8 different wedges cover different areas, and they help provide a focus for the library's plan so that you're not trying to do all 8 of these things at once. You may be working in all 8 of these areas, but the idea is that some of these take top priority and you really put some sustained focus and energy into those areas. So the wedges are curriculum instruction and assessment, personalized professional learning for teachers, having a robust digital infrastructure, really utilizing the library's budget and the resources effectively, building community partnerships or deepening community partnerships, protecting student data and privacy and really working toward making sure that we have systems in place to do that well. Use of space and time, and then again, that collaborative leadership so that the library staff are not the only owners of the plan. And we have chosen 3 wedges, and Brandy is going to share those wedges in our plan with you going forward. But I did want to say really quickly, in selecting our priority areas or our primary priority areas, we really thought about what that intersection between the library and our technology plan would be going forward. So if you are curious about the full plan, we do have goals written around all 8 of these areas. You can look at the SDB roadmap link that's there, or you can click through the end of our slide deck, and those plans are also show up in the last few slides on the slide deck. But the idea is that as you click through, you will start to see where that overlap is occurring already with our library and our tech staff, and how those plans might work hand in hand going forward. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Brandy Grady, and Brandy is going to share with you our top priorities for our 23 through 27 plan.
And as Kelly mentioned, we are focusing on 3 of the wedges as our main focus areas. So the first wedge, use of space and time. And our goal surrounding that is to create a STEM makerspace for the district, available for district use at Cunningham. We have a space off the library available for that. It aligns with priority number 4 of the strategic plan about engagement. We will be bringing kids in, getting them involved in hands-on activities, learning about STEM and design process. Our action steps for this is our funding will be coming from Common School funds, and we have also applied for a grant. For anyone unaware, Common School Funds is a investment fund that is distributed from DPI to schools with restrictions on being used, excuse me, for library programming and things supported through the library plan. We are also partnering with CISA 2. What is his title? Digital Learning and Emerging Technology Consultant there is working on some grants and funding to create teacher professional development on incorporating makerspace, and so we are going to be partnering with PIM as that gets built. We're hoping to get started this spring with that. The second wedge we are looking at is the curriculum instruction and assessment piece, and there's actually 3 pieces to this wedge. The first one is building instructional partnerships. So the goal around this is to align the resources, the library resources that we have digitally to the scope and sequence of our curriculums. We've adopted several new curriculums over the last few years, and we want to make it easier for teachers to find resources. This supports priority number 3 because we will be providing resources that will help improve academic achievement. We'll be mapping the digital resources available to the scope and sequence and have that right available to the teachers so that they don't have to spend so much time digging around through all of our resources to find videos. Excuse me. I will have a resource list available for them to match the standards to help them find resources to use in the classroom to improve their instruction. Thank you. Got a catch in my throat here. All right, the second piece of curriculum instruction and assessment is empowering the student as creators. And our goal along that is to monitor usage and relevancy of our library resources that we are providing. Again, this comes back to the whole child, priority number 3, to supporting academic achievement. We will be doing an annual evaluation of the digital resources that we are providing through the library and looking at changing technologies. And annually checking in with department chairs, coordinators, directors to see what the needs are and what's being used. And we want to evaluate these resources for, are they actually being used or not? Because we want to use our money wisely. And are they current and relevant to our curriculum? We will then, as we do this, eliminate resources that are no longer relevant for our students in our curriculum and add resources that would be more beneficial to meet our needs. The third part of curriculum instruction and assessment is curating digital tools, resources, and tools. So the goal is to continue to explore and develop professional development surrounding using AI in instruction. Whether that is for teachers to use it to improve their instruction or how it might be used with students. And this, again, hits priority number 3 because we will be using these tools to improve academic achievement. AI is a transformative technology that eventually will change things in education and how we do things. So it's important to stay on top of it and prepare our teachers for how it can affect their classrooms. Action steps will involve attending trainings, seeking out resources, and learning about AI. Including today, we took a small team to CISA 2 and learned about AI in education. We will then be creating professional learning experiences to present to teachers to help them understand and learn how AI is used. And then also working with individual departments. If the social studies department really wants to dig into this, then I can work with them as a team to help them implement what would be best for them. And the third wedge actually goes hand in hand with the previous one. As you can see, it's the same goal. And that is actually providing that professional learning for the teachers, whether that be large group, individually, working with PLCs or departments to help teachers really improve their understanding and how it can be beneficial. And those are our 3 priority areas. As Kelly said, there are additional slides with our secondary items, but at this point, are there any questions?
Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation. What a bunch of amazing opportunities, but I'll kick it over to other committee members. Any thoughts, questions, or comments?
I'm just curious, will there be a need for any extra funding beyond the Common School and grant funding provided already?
Not at this time, right?
No, not at this time.
Great question. Board Member Schneider.
Okay, no questions. I'm just, it's a great advantage as we look at aligning everything that we have with the curriculum we're using, and to make sure we have the resources that are needed, not just for supporting the curriculum, but also for exploration and for students to move beyond what's in the classroom. And the more I think that we align the library services, the technology services, the curriculum, and everything together, the better the advantages that we're going to have for our students in the future. So thank you for all your work.
I would be remiss if I didn't pause right now and just say that the person standing here behind me, Brandy, has done a phenomenal job over the years of really helping us find resources that attach and extend our curriculum. And the fact that we've gone through some major adoptions and that she stuck with us and just redone the work multiple times with us as we've gone through this, it's a tremendous amount of work, but it's been really, really beneficial to our teachers and students.
Thank you so much. I was just gonna kind of like applaud just not only how like wonderful all of this is, just sorry for my lack of specificity, but I really appreciate how it so directly uplifts like our strategic plan. Like Greg used the word alignment. Everything is clearly in alignment, and I love the focus on the accessibility piece. I know AI in particular is going to be such. And I've seen some articles, so I don't want to say it's an entirely untapped resource, but I just think that we're going to be discovering in the very near future rapidly how it's going to really level the playing field for a lot of our learners and just increase that access to our curriculum. So thank you so much for this really important work. Anybody else? Thank you so much.
Stop sharing, but then I have to stay here.
we have to, is there an action on that to, to move that to the full board?
All right, so like if we are all good, sorry, I got all excited. I'm like, yay, let's do it. We should probably make a motion, huh? Would anybody be interested in moving to recommend to the full board the approval of the Future Ready Library Plan?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Johnson, second by Schneider, and just a note that due to, I guess it's DPI timelines and things like that, we're sort of hop, skipping, and jumping our regular cadence of hearing first and then moving to consent agenda, which is just something that has to happen sometimes because of timelines external to our own, which I have zero problem with, but I just wanted to make everybody aware of. Awesome. So any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right. Motion passes unanimously, which takes us to item 3B, the course change and course name change proposal for health and laboratory sciences.
It's me again. So again, Kelly Grorud, Director for Instructional Leadership in STEAM. This is the second time I've been here with this course proposal. Just as a very brief reminder, I'm not going to redo the presentation, but what we're asking for is a change in what has been our introduction to biotechnology course. What we'd like to do is change the title to say Exploration in Health and Laboratory Sciences. The changes would be to help align this course a little bit more tightly with the health sciences pathway that's being developed at the high school. The content of the course and the labs in the course will largely stay the same. What will change is the focus. Instead of being very broad, like a survey course, it's going to focus a little bit more on the health sciences. We would remove the chemistry prerequisite in order to help students access this course a little bit more early in their academic path. And this course that would then also incorporate some career exploration to help support that HES Academy structure a little bit better. So those are that's the request that's coming back to you tonight. We're hoping that if you have questions, we can answer them because we'd like this to be recommended for board approval.
Thank you so much for that. Any questions, thoughts, or comments from committee members? Good. Excellent. So given that, is there a motion to recommend to the full Board of Education the proposed course changes and name change for the Introduction to Biotechnology course at Beloit Memorial High School?
So moved.
Second.
Great. Motion by Schneider, second by Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all of those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes unanimously. That takes us to item 3C, which is another new course proposal, Spanish for Careers and Community. Oh my gosh, my phone is with me. Turn that off.
Good evening. I'm just here to speak on behalf of Tony Bosco. He's unable to attend to this evening, and this is a second lab also on this course. So this is an extension for students that are participating in this track, and it's just more of a community-based opportunity for the students. So asking for consent this evening on this course as well.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing this back to us. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions? All good stuff. Great. Is there a motion to recommend to the full Board of Education the addition of the Spanish for Careers and Community course at Beloit Memorial High School?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Schneider. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Awesome. Thank you so much.
you.
That takes us, we've got 3 more items to act upon this evening. Item 3D is a new course proposal. This is another second lab, I believe, EDU overview of special education.
Hello, Jeff Sanders again, Director of Career Tech Ed and Alternative Education. So this is a new course in special education. It's an overview. It would enhance our,
That's right, Jeff.
thank you. So this would enhance our education pathway. Currently, we have a very robust early childhood program, but it ends in the early grades. And so this would open up and expand our education pathway to older grades. It is a transcripted course with Blackhawk Tech, also through UW Whitewater. And it also follows to Viterbo in pursuit of teacher licensure, and it allows students to actually off-ramp to behavioral tech certification through BTC as well. So it's an expansion of our education pathway from early childhood to opening it up to a wider array so students can look at education into the secondary level as well. And you see there are the teaching standards, and again, this is from a Black Hawk Tech course, and so we'd be following Black Hawk Tech's curriculum and their timeline.
Thank you so much for bringing this to us. And for those who might be following along at home, BTC has an agreement, just like all technical colleges do, with the UW system, where like many, if most courses are transferable between. So it's a really wonderful opportunity for students who are looking to, just get their associates or go on and, get their masters, So take them all the way down through that career pathway, which is pretty great stuff. So I really appreciate that we're expanding in that way. Any other thoughts or questions? Awesome. Is there a motion to recommend to the full Board of Education the addition of the EDU overview of special education course at Beloit Memorial High School?
So moved.
Second?
Excellent. Motion by Schneider, second by Johnson. Any discussion? Just want to give a shout out to Rachel Shepard, who, to my knowledge, does a phenomenal job, not only with all these classes, but isn't the ACCT, if I'm saying, isn't that one of our highest? The number of students that graduates with an industry recognized certification isn't like the highest one in ECE.
Yeah, they have been carrying the district since Rachel showed up. She's now at 51% only of that, and she's very dismayed that she's that low. So she was looking to shoot up. But yes, we've had the highest number in early childhood.
Well, raise the roof for Rachel. Nice job. Awesome. All right. All in favor of recommending this to the full board on consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Aye. Thank you so much. That takes us to item 3E, new course proposal, Introduction to Robotics. This is another second lap, right?
This is another second lap,
Cool.
correct. So this is a class for Introduction to Robotics, part of our actual tech ed program. It'll expand our advanced manufacturing, engineering, and information tech pathways. It builds on our current Project Lead the Way. We have automation robotics as an option in 7th and 8th grade as an elective, and we would be utilizing some of the same equipment. They're called VEX parts, and there's some older ones and some newer ones, but it really is about learning how to program, troubleshoot, make basic robots, advance with this. There's an industry need for them. We are looking then to create this bridge from Project Lead the Way, 7th and 8th grade, to a class at the high school, and then looking to expand this further to manufacturing robotics, which probably will come across next year along the way. And again, with a number of things moving into robotics and having some partners right now, as you talk about our partnerships, there are some new industry partners that are just moving into this area that have already said if we have kids who are understanding welding and robotics or manufacturing and robotics, we want them. I'm like, we are still working on that. So this would be that introductory gap. It does follow the Career Tech Common Core standards so that it is aligned with what industry needs, but what Common Core is. And this would be something that would be absorbed within the FTE that we currently have. There would just be some shifting of some of the classes to do this. And again, it would start with a link between Project Lead the Way and using some of the VEX parts, moving up to small manufacturing robotic arms, and then the idea is to expand this to robotic manufacturing moving forward.
Fantastic. Yeah, Brian's another rock star, so thanks so much for Brian for helping take that on. So just a quick question. I know PLTW has like a training cost to it. Is that something that's already, we've already unlocked that achievement?
Well, we have for those teachers at the middle school level. Any other teacher that needs to do it, we don't need it for the high school robotics one. So we're exploring curriculums, utilizing those parts because Brian is familiar with those
Right.
pieces and parts, but looking at which curriculum best fits our needs as a bridge to move to the manufacturing piece. So Project Lead the Way has something. We don't know if that's the best one yet, and we were waiting for this final approval before we started to say this is the route that we really want to go with it.
Perfect. Thank you.
I just want to add, just because you brought that up, and we're always thinking about ways to save funding, that is some work that we've done over the past 2 years. So we had this unfortunate kind of revolving door of having to train Project Lead the Way teachers, sometimes out of content area, which was not best practice for many reasons. We had people that were not, Project Lead the Way inspired. They were teaching out of their content. We would send them to training, and then the following year we would have to retrain people. So based on the restructuring that we did and then the reconfiguration and the way in which we've staffed, we've able to preserve Project Lead the Way for people that are in those fields. And so really reduced costs in the teaching and learning department to not have to do this ongoing training. So I'm glad that you asked that question, because also then we have better instructional practice as well, because we have the right teachers teaching the right courses.
Well, no, and I really appreciate that you brought that in. And I just think Project Lead the Way is such a worthwhile investment. It's an amazing opportunity for our students, and I'm so happy to see how forward-thinking we've been, and I really appreciate all of your work in that. Thank you.
And I will say that the middle school teachers appreciate the fact that their automation robotics now has a stepping stone. Well, we hope,
Yes.
but if you approve so, we'll now have a stepping stone to move on to something better.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that perspective as well. Any other thoughts or questions? Sorry, I wasn't here last time, so this is my shot. All right, cool. All right, is there a motion then to recommend to the full Board of Education the addition of the Introduction to Robotics course at Beloit Memorial High School?
So moved.
Second?
Okay, motion by Johnson, second by Schneider. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And lastly, oh no, thank you. Lastly, we have item 3F, the course name change for men's choir.
Hello again. So last time we were here, we brought women's choir, and I believe there was actually a question at the full board meeting, and I was not here for it. Is there a men's choir? Colloquially, we have not had men's choir. We've been calling it something else, but when I was pulling an enrollment report the next day, lo and behold, guess what we found? Men's choir. So we are here to also ask for a name change for that course as well. So men's choir, we would like to change to bass choir. It's a small shift, but again, it removes that gendered language to help make the course more inclusive for all students. The other small change we would make to this course is removing some language in the course description that refers to male voice, replacing that language with low voice. There's no other changes to the curriculum, no changes to staffing, and no funding needed for this change. It's really about making the course more inclusive for students.
Thank you so much. Any thoughts or questions? Great. All right. Is there a motion then to recommend to the full Board of Education the name change of men's choir to bass choir?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Schneider, second by Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good summary of the kind of range of things we've seen tonight. It's been all about access and inclusion, and that's fantastic. So thank you, all of you, for the work that you've presented with us this evening. All right, that takes us to item 4A. Our next meeting date is then Tuesday, December 19th, presumably at 5:30 p.m. And if there's nothing else for this meeting, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion by Schneider, second by Johnson. All in favor of moving to adjourn here at 6:22 p.m., please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.
All right, good evening.
Oh, somebody's.
All right,
Sorry.
it's okay. I'm going to call to order the November 21st, 2023 Human Resource Committee meeting to order at 6:31 PM. Mrs. Dooley, could I have a roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Greg Schneider,
Present.
Amy Levy,
Here.
Megan Miller,
Present?
Brian Anderson,
Here?
Brian Nichols,
Present.
Tia Johnson,
Here.
Sean Levy.
Present.
The roll reflects that all members are present.
Okay. Is there a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved?
Before we move to, well, before there's a second, could we remove item 2C? It needs to be removed because it's the approval of the closed session minutes. And the minutes that are attached are from October 3rd, which we approved at the October 17th meeting, but the meeting minutes from October 17th are not attached.
Okay, can you state that one more time?
Yeah, no problem. We need to remove item 2C, and the reason it needs to be removed is under the closed session minutes. October 3rd minutes are attached. We already approved those on October 17th. What should be attached are the closed session minutes from October 17th.
So then if, go ahead.
I just want to make sure, are we removing it so that there's a change, or are we removing it so that we can, just want to make sure I capture what your request is.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for wanting to get it correct. Item 2C on tonight's agenda says approval of closed session minutes. Nothing wrong with that, but the closed session minutes that are attached are from October 3rd. We already approved those closed session minutes at the October 17th meeting. What should be attached under 2C are the closed session minutes from October 17th. And since they're not attached for us to review, we can't approve them. So we need to remove item 2C from the agenda.
Thank you.
No problem.
So then if Megan's motion gets no second, then we'll offer another motion?
Yeah.
No, she can amend it because it hasn't received a second.
I was
So if
actually
she
just
amends it to approve the agenda minus 2C, we're good.
perfect. Yes, I would love to move to approve the agenda with the omission of item 2C.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Board Member Megan Miller and seconded by Board Member Greg Schneider. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. All right. So now to 2D. Is there a motion for the approval of the minutes of October 17th, 2023?
So moved.
Could we also add November 7th?
No, I was going to take them each one by one. But I guess you can make the amendment, Board Member Nichols, and include November 7th minutes with October 7th.
Approved, motion to approve the minutes of October the 17th and November the 7th, 2023, excuse me, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Board Member Brian Nichols and seconded by Board Member Amy Levy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes unanimously. We're on now to 2A. A motion may be made to convene the Human Resources Committee into closed session pursuant to Section 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C of the Wisconsin State Statutes relative to considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee, over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Board Member Amy Levy and seconded by Board Member Brian Nichols. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, Mrs. Dooley, can you give us a roll call? Oh, sorry, Board Member Johnson.
Thank you, President Levy. I have a question about one of the positions, just a quick question.
Well, we'll take the open, when we go in the closed session, when we come back out, we'll take your open session question afterwards. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Hearing none, Mrs. Dooley, could I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Tia Johnson.
Aye.
Brian Nichols.
Aye.
Brian Anderson.
Aye.
Megan Miller.
Aye.
Amy Levy.
Aye.
Greg Schneider.
Aye.
Sean Levy.
Aye.
Motion is unanimous.
All right, so we will go into closed session. Make sure that you close out of your public session link. Okay, the Human Resource Committee is reconvened in public. In order to take any action if necessary on items discussed in closed. Are there any open session questions for open session regarding Exhibit A and B? Board Member Johnson.
Thank you, President Levy. I am curious, the instructional coach substitute, is that a professional educator or is that an administrative position?
As a professional educator.
Okay, and to my understanding from emails with Dr. Garrison, and I know you were out, this is to cover until the holidays because somebody's out?
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, the person who holds this position is on a leave of absence through the end of the year, throughout the holidays.
Okay, so should this be a temporary rather than substitute?
No, this is the way we typically have coded it. That's not a change that I believe we've done before, so.
Okay, so I guess I'm confused because our professional educators have a certain rate, but this one has a different hourly rate.
It is a different position that lands on a different column on the professional educator compensation matrix. And so it's comparable to that, the same as our paraprofessional substitutes have a different rate than our substitute teachers.
Okay, so this is, the rate is $50 an hour, and a first-year professional educator at $44,798 on a 192-day contract is $29, $17 an hour. Our substitutes, our professional educator substitutes in the classroom with more, in front of more students, makes $125 a day. At 8 hours a day, that's $15.63. I have a problem approving this instructional coach substitute at $50 an hour because for the, and based off of the job description you gave me, the instructional coaches work a 200-day contract that at $50 an hour, that comes out to $80,000. If I'm not mistaken, the ballpark of our instructional coaches start in the mid-70s. So this substitute is making more than what an entry-level instructional coach would, but our classroom substitutes are making less than what the actual educators make. Usually, it would just be, oh, it is what it is. However, just up the road in Turner, those substitutes are making $160 a day. That's $20 an hour for an 8-hour day. If they work 4 or more days a week, they make $190 a day, bringing them up to $23.75. So my point with this is, we are short-staffed. We need substitutes. Teachers are stressed out. They're having to backfill positions. We have building subs taking core classes, teaching core classes. We need substitutes. Yes, we have a problem with teacher absenteeism. Let's do something to reduce that. At $50 an hour, we could have 3.2 subs at our regular rate of $125 a day. If we bump that up, we could give them the Turner regular rate we would have 2.5 subs, or if we even went up to the $190 a day, we could have 2.1 subs. I think we really need to reevaluate our priorities. Thank you.
Thank you for your comment. I will say that this person is only coming in a few hours a day. It's no more than 20 hours per week. Also, this is a teacher who retired from our district with over 28 years of experience. And it is my understanding that it has been past practice that if someone is coming out of retirement, not to become a permanent or not to become a continuous substitute, they're doing it to get us out of a situation, if you will, that we have in the past honored their departing rate, and hers was higher than the 50 per hour.
And this has nothing to do with the person. Seriously, let's leave the person out of it. It's just our priority. Instructional coaches work with how many students per day, per hour, versus our teachers, and considering the stress load our teachers are under, and it's not unique to Beloit, this is nationwide. Again, we have a national teacher crisis. Let's do something to help minimize our need for substitute teachers.
I think, let me just, one of the things that we have to remember is that our goal is always to have high quality instruction in front of our students. That's our goal. And that will always be our goal in the school district of Beloit under my leadership. In this case, we have a retired coach who coming back to do a coaching opportunity for us. This is the salary schedule that has been built, that has also been approved by our board. I do believe that, with those thoughts, we are acting within the possible integrity of what we can be doing at this current time. We value our teachers. We value our instructors. These rates, again, are, and I always say, I wish I can give more to everybody all the time. But at some point, we have these salary schedules for these very reasons. And so again, thank you for your comments. Our goal is to have high quality people in front of all of our students at all times. And this is where we are as an administration at the current time.
The only thing I would add to the conversation, because sometimes things are not that cut and dry and there's complexities. And so in this example, we receive achievement gap reduction funding, AGR funding, and we have to identify a lever in which, one of three levers in which we're going to approach achievement gap reduction, and one of those levers is coaching. So all of our instructional coaches are funded through our AGR grant funds, and so in order to be in compliance, we need to have coaches in buildings, and so this helps to satisfy that. And in thinking outside the box, in all of the in vacancies and roles and responsibilities, this is an experienced person that was valued and had already worked for the district, is willing to come back a couple hours a week or what it might be to support a school that has had some turnover recently, and just to bring in additional support for the implementations that we have going on specifically in reading.
Board Member Levy, your hand is up.
Thank you. So I have a few questions for Exhibit A in open session, but I'll go out of order and kind of start with the identified concern that Board Member Johnson raised. So overall, it would be helpful to have some of the context that has been added through this discussion. For example, my note was, I just wanted to make sure that $50 an hour was correct, because I'm just thinking, unless the document tells me otherwise, that this is a person that's coming on $50 an hour, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, that's $2,000. So I wanted to make sure that was correct. But if you're saying that this person is only there for a few hours a day, no more than 20 a week, and that it's ending, it sounds like when winter break begins, like all of that information provides context, and that would be helpful to have that information noted in the document, because absent that, we wouldn't have the information. And then the other point that Dr. Garrison brought up about a salary schedule for substitutes that has been approved by the board, if someone could produce that document, because I don't know that we have a separate salary schedule for substitutes that has the nuances that you spoke to, like the 125 for building subs, that's standard, but having a different rate for people substituting in different roles. To my memory, I just want to say that because it is possible that I am wrong. I do not recall the board approving a nuanced salary schedule for substitutes. So if someone could produce that document, that would be really helpful. So my additional questions for open session, the column that says increase, decrease, since it should be either, it would be helpful to note. Now, I'm assuming the 5.9% and the 47% are both increased, but because it's not noted, I'm not sure. So that's just a note there. And then my first question, I guess, is there a reason the effective date is TBD for the family advocate position at Merrill and Gaston?
That was removed and a revised document was uploaded post that. That was removed from the original to the one that was recently posted as revised.
Oh, I apologize. Did I miss an email that documents have been revised and uploaded?
It was sent? Okay. I'm being told that, yes, by Michelle, that the document revision information was sent by Michelle. I'm being told by Ms. Dooley.
So at some point between Friday when it was posted, we received an email that information had been revised.
I suppose, I mean, Michelle is not here to concur, but what I'm being told by Ms. Dooley is that, yes, that communication went out, but I don't know myself.
Okay, I'll go back and double check that because I'm not seeing that in my inbox, but I definitely won't take everyone's time. And I see other people's heads shaking no. So again, if information is being updated after that Friday posting date, it would be helpful if board members are made aware of that so that we're reviewing accurate information. So that effective date, what is the updated information for that?
We are not going to move forward with that change at this time because the position that they would be vacating needs to be backfilled before they can move on to the new position.
Okay, are there any other changes to Exhibit A? Because I was operating there under the impression that the administration was asking us to approve that this evening.
There's no other changes to that exhibit, no.
Okay, thank you so much. My next question, and forgive me if you've already, if you've explained this in the past, what is LOA? There is a note that says retired teacher due to staff LOA.
Leave of absence.
Okay. And my other question is for Exhibit B. So I'll yield the floor in case there are any board members that have additional questions for Exhibit A.
Any other board members with questions for Exhibit A? Okay, Exhibit B.
Thank you so much. And I want to be brief and I want to be very clear. I am not suggesting that anything has to change for this evening. This is just a question so I can understand the process
Excuse me,
better.
Board Member Levy, I'm sorry. Can you
Yep.
adjust your sound? Your sound is trailing.
It's up as loud as it will go, so my deepest apologies. Please indulge me. Please let me know also if you need me to repeat anything. Again, I'm not saying anything needs to be changed. This is just a question so I can understand the process. What goes into years of experience calculation? And I ask specifically because one of our coaches on Exhibit B has NBA experience. and he's coaching basketball. But it's listed as he has 2 years of experience. And I'm just wondering, again, nothing has changed. Does that genre of experience translate into years of experience, or is it strict experience coaching?
It depends on what is submitted by the coach as supporting documentation. So if at the time that we submit for approval, we only can account for 2 years of experience, and he produces or she produces verifiable information to help support anything additional, then we adjust it.
Okay, and again, I'm not saying anything has to be changed, but just to give context, it's my understanding if I come as like an alternative path teacher, but I have experience in the business world, then that could impact my pay. And I'm just wondering if the same is true on the coaching metrics, like what goes into years of experience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anybody else with Exhibit B questions? Okay, is there a motion for Exhibit A or Exhibit B?
Move to approve Exhibit A and B, minus the freshman girls coach position.
I'll second.
I was going to ask that we make sure that we're approving the minus the Merrill Gaston, because unless someone else has a different version, I think we're operating off the same version, and it sounds like the administration is saying that is no longer requested.
I just pulled up the attachments to the board doc and board agenda, and it does not reflect that position any longer. It has the revised version.
No, I understand that, my point, but I downloaded my information when it was made available on Friday. So I just want to make sure that I don't know what other people are looking at, and if they're looking at the document that was originally given to us, I just want to make sure there's no misunderstanding on what the board is and is not approving.
Well, I think the part of that is, like you said, depending on when you log on, and if you print the information or PDF it at a certain time, then the documents could change. I think that what is listed in board docs right now does not have that other position. On Exhibit A, there's BMHS ISI support, elementary Fruzen teacher orchestra, BLA teacher, physical education health, district teacher substitute, Converse, instructional coach substitute, and Merrill professional, paraprofessional special education. So that's the Exhibit A that I see. So just so everyone's clear on what they're voting on in Exhibit A. And then, so, just make sure we got clarity on that. Everybody's clear? Okay. So that was a second, that was a, Board Member Schneider made a motion, and I think that was seconded by Board Member Miller. All those in favor? Any discussion? I think we've had the discussion now. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes unanimously.
No, I was a nay.
Okay, okay.
you didn't
I'm
ask
sorry.
for nays.
Right, I thought, I got you. Any nays?
Nay.
Okay, so that motion passes 6-1. There is there a motion for Exhibit B, girls freshman coach?
I move approval of the freshman girls basketball coach on Exhibit B.
Second.
So moved by Board Member Megan Miller, seconded by Board Member Amy Levy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed?
Nay.
Okay. Motion passes 6-1. All right. the Human Resource Committee. Next meeting will be Tuesday, December 5th, 2023 at 6:30 PM. Is there a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Board Member Miller, seconded by Board Member Amy Levy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes unanimously. And we'll start our regular board meeting at 7:30. All right, everybody. Okay. I'm going to call to order the November 21st regular board meeting at 7:30 PM. Mrs. Dooley, can we have a roll call, please?
Yes, you may. Let me just get in here. Okay, Tia Johnson,
Present.
Brian Nichols,
Here.
Brian Anderson,
Here.
Megan Miller,
Present.
Amy Levy,
Here.
Greg Schneider,
Present.
and Sean Levy.
Present.
The roll reflects that all members are present.
All right. I'd also like to read our reminder here that the Board of Education would like to let our families and viewers know that our regular board meetings are being simultaneously interpreted. You can watch the Spanish interpreted meeting through the link found at the board website under the Watch Meetings tab with tonight's date. In order to accommodate this interpretation, we will be monitoring the pace of our meeting to allow time for the interpretation, and I'd like to remind our board members and others speaking to please speak one at a time. Thank you so much for your consideration and understanding. Is there a motion for the approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All right, it's been moved by Board Member Miller and seconded by Board Member Johnson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, the motion passes unanimously, and I will lead us in our Pledge of Allegiance. If everyone please join me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There we go. Mrs. Dooley, do we have any public comment by email or in person? Okay, please read it.
I'm so sorry. I can't hear. Could Miss Julie turn on her mic?
I'm sorry. Is that better? Sorry.
Thank you
Okay,
so
so
much.
we do have one public comment that was received by email. That is by Hugo Hernandez, and I will read that at this time. Due to the incompetence of the school board and district leadership, there is now no more ID classrooms at Converse. That leaves Merrill as the only elementary school in the district with one. So now the classrooms are overcrowded and the special needs kids cannot get as much attention as they need. So only 2 teachers and a few paras. You shouldn't have one classroom go through 4 teachers in less than 3 months. This is not acceptable, but unfortunately, the kids that need the most help suffer the consequences of the board's failure to do their jobs. You can make all the excuses of there being a shortage of special needs teachers, but you need to be asking yourself, why are the ones we've had recently leaving? The answer is because you're not paying them enough and giving them the support they need, such as more paras. If there's all this money to pay a tutor more than a teacher, unnecessary administrators who earn 6 figures, new route, rising queens, food trucks, and commercials, then you should have the money to pay the teachers and paras a really good salary so they'll want to stay on the job. If you would put the amount of energy into this as you do to try to steal more money from taxpayers, then the district will do better. It's pathetic that other school districts in the area score better on the DPI reports than this district. That blame is on the board for their incompetence. To sum it up, you better start doing something to get ID classrooms back to Converse really soon, or I'll be taking my kid out of this district, so you won't be getting funding off of him and I will be pursuing legal action for neglect as well as reporting this to the DPI. This is not a threat, but a guarantee. Now start doing your job. There are no other public comments.
Well, part of the, we do receive the comment as individuals are given the right to make their point of view. Even in this written comment, though, to Mr. Hernandez, I will point out when we read the parameters of our public comment, it talks about civility. And sometimes people need to blow steam in an email, and there are valid points about services provided to special education students that were there. But our policy does speak about speech that is belligerent, disorderly, disruptive, repetitive, or exceeds the allowable time permitted for each speaker is prohibited. Our administration will take note of the complaints that are registered and will respond. Thank you. Our superintendent board report, because we don't have our student board report.
Sure. So first of all, thank you everyone for having an awesome start of our school year. I would like to report that we do have a good problem as it pertains to our enrollment is steady on the uptick. You know, naturally we have had conversations around opportunities in our district, and I believe again that we've made some changes to continue to have those opportunities happen here for all of our students. Right now we're seeing an uptick in our 4K opportunity, which is a very important number. I'm sorry, very important grade, not 4K number. Very important grade. I hope that, again, as our parents are choosing their schools throughout the year, that again, the School District of Beloit is that viable option that we want to continue to see that growth. Additionally, I'd like to say naturally this is the holiday season and we start going into Thanksgiving. I hope that everyone spends as much time they can with their families and friends. Naturally, there's a lot of turkeys that are going to be consumed, and food and family together is always a special thing. And so again, please have a wonderful Thanksgiving to my entire school district, to the school board. Please have a wonderful Thanksgiving as well to all the teachers, students, again, staff. Please have a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday season. As we prepare to venture into our December conversation, we know that there are some things that we still have to tackle. Our goal is always student achievement. We will be doing a big board report in December as it pertains to our strategic plan and kind of our year in review. And so that'll happen here in December. That's not a conversation I can have for tonight, but again, that is a conversation that we will reserve for the December timeframe. Believe it or not, last year about this time, it was my almost week on the job. And so I would like to say to everyone who has welcomed me here in this space, again, a huge thank you. It goes without saying that the work of a district administrator is never easy. I'd like to say thank you to my executive team, to my administrative team, to all the teachers who've shown me tremendous support. To all of the students, again, thank you so much for all that you do for our school district. Naturally, we wouldn't have a district without you. To our parents and families, again, thank you so much for, again, choosing the School District of Beloit, but also welcoming me to this conversation. Again, I would be remiss if I didn't just say thank you to the school board who has allowed me to serve in this role, and to, of course, make some, big changes and suggest some big recommendations. And I know our work is not always easy, but I have to say thank you for allowing our relationship to continue to grow as well. That's not a brownie point or anything like that. That's just one of those things that you have to be mindful of in the work that we do as a team. It's very important that we note our partners. Naturally, there's three people that I always like to say that deserves more credit than not. Number one, my family. Thank them for allowing me to be here and of course serve in this role as well. But number two, I would like to say that, we can't we can't do this without each other. So the community, I want to say thank you as well. And then, of course, the school district, because you all come together to make this thing work every single day. I've said it before, when the teachers and administration and, of course, the school board all come together, what you have is, again, highly functioning school districts. And that's something that we all strive to be, and we will continue to strive to be that. And even when we reach it, we will flip the hourglass over and continue to move forward. And so that's my superintendent's report. I didn't want to make it long, but again, happy holidays to those who will be celebrating the Thanksgiving time frame.
Any questions or comments for the superintendent report? Yeah. We will go on, not at length tonight, about Dr. Garrison's 1 year, but in this time, we do want to say thank you to Dr. Garrison for your 1 year service here with us. I think, speaking as the board president for the board, that one, going through the process of selecting a superintendent is intense. It was intense. And then secondly, the work that has been done for our community in this year. We were without business, executive business services, and the reality is, when we're a school board, but we need, our job is vision, and we need an administrator to be on the ground doing the day-to-day work. And Dr. Garrison has provided that leadership. Along with having a superintendent, there are other positions that came on board because people do see stability in our organization, and we have made some gains that we're going to highlight over the next couple weeks by the work that's been done by the team that's been put together. So I'm thankful to have a person of Dr. Garrison's caliber of character and his competence and his work, and many of the heavy lifting and things that we have to do that we began with our strategic plan and other activities and the work that has been existing in the district before Dr. Garrison got here. He's come in as a leader to take that baton and continue to move us forward. Our progress might not be as much as others would want at times, but we are moving forward, and we're thankful for that. And so thank you, Dr. Garrison.
Thank you.
All right. And our plan was to make our agenda short this evening because we do have some other business to attend to. So as we're reporting out from our committees, we can keep that in mind so we can make up. We really did think we had a light agenda when we planned it. So we have business operations and finance, teaching, learning, equity, and pupil services, governance committee, legislative update, and policy committee.
The Business Operations and Finance Committee does not have an update, as we have not met since our last regular meeting.
Good evening. Reporting out for Teaching, Learning, Equity, and Pupil Services. We heard some information about some partnerships with the Career Technical Education Program that are ongoing at our 6 through 8, which is very exciting. We have a number of consent agenda items that are being moved forward this evening. Just a heads up to board members who were not at the meeting, let me find where it is. The course change, item 5A, and course proposal for, oh nope, I'm lying to you. Hold on, where did it go? The Future Ready Library Plan, 5F, is being moved ahead after just one reading due to an external DPI timeline, which our committee unanimously approved, in case there were questions about that. Otherwise, we have some very exciting new course proposals that you can read about in the consent agenda. That's all I have.
Okay, our governance committee met October 24th, 2023. We did receive long-range facility planning from our EUA partners. That is something that'll come back to the full board, and we do have a meeting scheduled ahead of us in November.
So for the legislative update, I was unable to send it in time for it to be posted, but I have sent it a copy to Ms. Dooley. So it will be posted hopefully on our board docs website. But I'll just read through it. I did send a copy to board members. As always, there's contact information for our representatives. A few legislative highlights. There is Senate Bill 688 was introduced into the state Senate, and it will require boards to accept only the lowest bids for most expenditures over $150,000. So if that's of interest to anybody, that would apply to like materials adoption, new construction. So that's, I thought, of note. There are a few assembly passed bills. One is related to maintaining opioid antagonists in schools, which is something that is ongoing here at Beloit, of course. There is something very exciting regarding some grant, well, some sort of not grant, but sort of some scholarship funding for school psychologists. We're very fortunate in the school district of Beloit to have been able to make sure that we have school psychologists in all of our buildings, but not every school district is in that situation. And there are certainly schools here in Rock County that do not have a school psych in every building, and it's a huge need for kids everywhere. So it's important kind of to keep an eye on that one. And there are a number of other bills related to mental health that are ongoing as well. Some updated budget information. There was a report released by a nonpartisan group called, let me just pull it up, I think Forward Analytics, which is a branch of the Wisconsin Counties Association. And I think it's notable because this speaks to our experience here in the school district of Beloit. There's a full 12-page report that highlights Wisconsin's growing divestment from state-funded public education. So I'm not going to read all of the excerpts, but I would like to draw your attention on page 10 of the report to their final thoughts and conclusions that they say maybe the answer after 30 years of revenue limits is an in-depth review of the law to see how it can be improved to continue protecting taxpayers and ensure adequate funding of our schools. This is a reaction to the dramatic increase of the need of all school districts in Wisconsin particularly since 2011, but of course since 1994, to rely upon referendums for funding versus just state-funded public education. I did read the report. I found it very interesting, and I found it to be a very easy read. It is hyperlinked in the document if anybody would like to take a look. And other than that, the state of Wisconsin is maintaining its $6 billion budget surplus. That is all I have.
All right, we are now down to our consent agenda.
Just very briefly.
Policy, my fault.
No problem at all. Policy will meet again on Wednesday, December 6th at 5:30.
All right. We are now at our consent agenda. Is there a motion for our consent agenda?
I actually have a couple items that I need removed. If we could remove 5B as in boy, 5F as in Fred.
Any other items for removal?
I would like to remove A. You said B, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
B.
B, A, C, D, E.
So G, H, and F, you said? G and H?
So I would like to move approval then of the consent agenda inclusive only of items G and H.
Is there a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Is there any discussion? Having none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. G and H. All right, let's start at A.
Okay, well, I can cover my part of it and cover all the letters, if that's okay, except for Board Member Levy, except for your questions. But I notice it's amazing that we have all these course changes, but so many people aren't dating when they sign it. That's like, signing a mortgage without dating it. I don't think I think it's just it's a housekeeping thing. I think everybody needs to date when they sign it. if you look at it, a lot of them, there's only one that's really done right. So just a housekeeping thing. I think they take that back to the, protocol. Okay? Thank you.
Any other questions for A? Okay. Let's take B.
Thank you so much. So in the item summary, it lists no fiscal impact, but there's a dollar amount of 500. So I'm just wondering which was accurate.
I'm just pulling up the proposal here. There is no fiscal impact. If there's an amount listed there, then that's in error. You're talking about men's choir, correct?
Yep, 5B.
Yes. There is no fiscal impact.
Where are
They
you
don't-
seeing it at? Can you tell me where that's located, Mrs. Levy? I'm sorry. We just want to locate it on the document.
On the agenda,
Nope.
description.
Pull it up.
I don't. Where's that listed?
Oh, no, I see it.
Oh, at the top. Oh, on the
So if
actual
you go
agenda.
to 5B,
Sorry.
it says fiscal impact, no, dollar amount 500.
Sure. I see what you were saying on the actual agenda. That was an error.
Yes, it's a summary.
Yes, ma'am. That's an area. That's an error.
Okay, thank you so much. And then I'm sorry, that's all I have for B. I'll wait for F.
C.
It's the same thing.
Okay. Signatures.
Signatures.
Okay.
C, D, and E signatures, along with A.
Okay.
B was the perfect one, ironically. So.
So C, D, and E. Did you have F, Board Member Levy?
I did. Thank you so much. So I was looking through the presentation, and I believe it's on slide 6. It listed the goal is to create a makerspace for the district at Cunningham. And if someone could just, I'm not familiar with the term a makerspace. It sounds exciting. If someone could just tell me what that is, that'd be awesome.
We'd be happy to do that. So a makerspace is generally considered like a STEM-oriented space, although it doesn't need to exclusively be STEM. And it's a space for students to really explore creativity projects, engineering and design projects, sometimes art projects. What we're looking to do is develop a space like that at Cunningham. There's a nice room adjacent to the library where we could train teachers and then also have students come on in-district field trips to use the space and really do that in engineering, design, exploration, STEM activity kind of work.
Okay, you are speaking to my chemist hard. Are we using Cunningham as the pilot, and we're going to roll this out at like all of our elementary schools or all of our buildings to have maker spaces? Is that the ultimate goal?
For right now, for the next 3 years, and our plan is really to focus on Cunningham and learn how to do it well. Yeah, ideally, I'd love it everywhere, but we're not going down that road quite yet.
So your makerspaces are, again, naturally awesome opportunities for students to have engagement, other engaged opportunities in the learning environment. Naturally, all makerspaces comes with a cost, and so if we was to try to bring those to all of the buildings, it would come with a cost. Not saying that we're not going to do it, but I do believe right now we're going to kick it off over at Cunningham, and then kind of see if we can kind of explore it in different spaces.
As I understood the presentation, Board Member Levy, think of the apple orchard. And
that's what I was just, okay, sorry.
Yeah,
That's
to
what
all
I
the
was just about to say. I'm going
to all the Beloit people and the nostalgia tour when we all used to go to Colac Center on Keeler to use the Apple IIe computers and play Oregon Trail. that is that space, but this will be with STEM activities to be rolled out to classes as finance is available and our plan moves forward. Yep. So that dates us. All right, so is that, are those all of our consent items discussed individually? Yes, okay. Somebody have a motion for the remainder of our consent items?
I'd like to move approval of items 5A, B, C, D, E, and F.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion passes unanimously.
Point of clarity?
Yes.
May I ask who provided the second? Okay, thank you.
All right. Our future board meeting dates. We have scheduled, in lieu of our governance meeting on Tuesday, November 28th, a special board meeting at 5:30 PM. Business Operations and Finance, Tuesday, December 5th at 5:30 PM. Human Resource, Tuesday, December 5th at 6:30 PM. Our regular board meeting, Tuesday, December 5th at 7 PM. And Policy Committee meeting Wednesday, December 6th at 5:30 PM. All right, we're on to number 7, executive session. A motion may be made and a vote taken to convene the Board of Education to close session pursuant to Section 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C of the Wisconsin State Statutes relative to considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Board Member Miller, seconded by Board Member Schneider. Is there any discussion? Mrs. Dooley, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you may. Tia Johnson.
Aye.
Brian Nichols.
Aye.
Brian Anderson.
Aye.
Megan Miller.
Aye.
Amy Levy.
Aye.
Greg Schneider.
Aye.
Sean Levy.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous.
All right. And we will be adjourning from closed session. So that is the end of our meeting for tonight. Thank you.